All right, welcome back. And so our next film, going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I love this movie.
It's fucking great.
This movie is so exquisitely crafted from start to finish.
Yes.
It's a great thriller. It's a great Captain America movie.
It's a great superhero movie.
Yeah, and it's just a really great installment in this series of films.
Also a great
overall.
spy thriller.
Yeah,
which is
totally.
I mean, the first Captain America was more of an old-fashioned war epic, and this is more of a modern spy epic.
But what I like is that it's a complete change of tone for the first one.
Yes.
But it's not one of those cases where they want you to forget that the first one happened.
No.
Instead, it very much embraces the tone of the first one and uses that to contrast with how when Captain America's world has changed.
How the guy from that world is now dropped into this world.
Yeah.
Dropped into this, dark spy movie where, nobody trusts each other. And then you have Captain America, the ultimate Boy Scout, who I heard one review say he acts like a reverse virus.
We've seen this movie so many times, we thought we'd mix it up. So, in between Thor and Winter Soldier, we watched an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. called Yes Men from Season 1. This is one guest starring Lady Sif.
Yeah.
It's also the last one before the final stretch of episodes where the events of Winter Soldier tie in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and it actually made a nice bridge going from Dark World to Winter Soldier to watch that episode, because we got, the world of Thor meeting up with the world of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, Cap hangs out with. I also want to say one thing. The Winter Soldier opens with a sequence of Cap and company going onto a boat that's been taken over by some pirates. Now, that is an example of something that I wish we would see in more of these movies. If you want to open it with an action scene, use one of the minor villains from this Heroes Rogues Gallery. It's like, and the Batman movies and the Spider-Man movies are still doing this, where they will treat every villain as if they're the main villain. At least they'll be big enough to appear on the poster.
Yeah.
But, hey, guys, Batroc the Leaper is in this movie. He's not really a big part of it, but he's in it.
Yeah.
And, they thought, okay, obviously this guy is too lame to carry a film on his own, but he is good for, one good fight scene with Cap, which is what he gets.
Yeah.
And he's played by, what is he, a UFC fighter?
Yeah, I'm a Georges St. Pierre.
Yeah.
I like how, all we need is a French-speaking, MMA guy who's known for his fancy footwork.
Yeah.
That's Batroc. That's all we need. And watching that episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's like a whole different show from what it is now, where everybody was trusting and nice to each other, and such a drag. I'd forgotten that how much Agent Sitwell had appeared before Winter Soldier.
That's right.
He was in that Item 47 short. He also showed up in Thor, and he'd also showed up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a few times.
Yeah.
And then he shows up in Winter Soldier, and we find out that he's Hydra. And then he's killed rather suddenly by the Winter Soldier. That was amazing. I love pretty much every action sequence in this film. Where we got like with the quiet stuff where they're infiltrating the boat and taking it back from Batroc, and this more sort of a close quarters fight stuff. And then we got the stuff with the Winter Soldier, which is
every sequence of the Winter
hitting.
Soldier is great. You almost forget that Winter Soldier isn't really in this movie very much. It's sort of like Darth Maul, who's only in a few scenes, but he's one of the best things in that movie where he appears, which shall not be named. So he has a horrendous amount of super spy training, and I don't know how much he's been drugged out to give him additional strength. Maybe some beta version of the super soldier serum. They never really explained that. But then of course he's got the robot arm, which makes up for any advantage that Cap might have over him with his super soldier serum and the shield. This guy can go through squads of soldiers and squads of superheroes with his robot arm.
I love the sound design of the robot arm. It's got that when you hear it ramping up for a big punch.
You can feel the power of it.
You can hear the power of it. Not just when it hits something, but when it's getting ready to hit something. But the whole freeway chase is one of my favorite action scenes in all these movies. It's just it starts very suddenly, and then it just goes completely bonkers all of a sudden, and then just there's the Winter Soldier who's just this relentless fighter.
He starts out by leaping on top of the truck and killing Sitwell, and then they knock him off, and he just gets right back on.
And then he rips out the steering wheel. It's like, okay, we're gonna crash. Something that really did it for me was when Cap, as the car is going airborne, Cap grabs Natasha and Sam, and jumps out on the car door before the car crashes. That's just nuts.
Yeah, and that's what being a super soldier gets you.
Yeah. More grounded than a lot of the other stuff. Yeah, but still got plenty of hair-raising stunts going in there.
And plenty of two-fisted superhero action, which is what we paid for. We got Anthony Mackie as the Falcon, Sam Wilson. And it's great that the first Cap sequel, we the first Cap movie in the present day, we get to introduce Falcon, which was definitely a good move because he's a really good character. He's been around for a long time, and it's good to just why not introduce one more Avenger into the fold?
Yeah, exactly. Cap meets this guy at the beginning, and they become buds. And it just so happens that this guy has
has a superhero suit.
Has like a superhero gear that makes him qualified to go into actual Captain America immediately.
That wingsuit is so fucking cool.
We asked one of our friends if she knew that Winter Soldier was actually Bucky when she saw it, and he said that she did get spoiled before the movie, but this was in the comics, so the cat was kind of out of the bag, and they didn't go out of their way to hide it. But it does take some of the edge off that the fact that Bucky's Winter Soldier is not the big twist of the movie. The big twist is that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been taken over by Hydra.
Yes, like all along, which they never really hinted at before in any of the other movies. There's the idea that they recovered the cube after the war back in the 40s, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. started up, and so they've been sitting on the cube, which was what powered the Hydra war machine all this time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I like how they worked in Arnim Zola in there, In the comics, Arnim Zola's got this ridiculous look where he's got this robot suit with this little camera for the head, and then his face is on the chest.
Yeah, why don't you just have a regular robot body?
Yeah. So instead, for the movie, they got rid of the robot suit and just made the screen with the face on it and the camera. So that was actually really cool, especially since it's such an ominous scene where he's telling them what's really going on with Hydra, and this whole "you are standing in my brain." Jeez.
And also, I gotta give props to Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. Now, this is the third movie in which she has appeared, and this is the movie where I finally decided, okay, Scarlett, you can be Black Widow.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about her casting at first because it seems like we got to cast a movie star instead of finding who was right for the role. But she rose to the occasion, and now she is Black Widow.
Yeah, she went from just looking cool in action scenes to having a cool standoff with Loki, which added to her character. And then this movie, this is when she really comes into fruition, where she used to be an evil spy, and then she became a good spy, until here she finds out that she'd been working for the bad guys all along. So that's a nice a dilemma to see her have to deal with. Another one of my favorite action scenes is, of course, the elevator fight. I have to just watch that every time. Like, as soon as I saw that in the trailer, I knew that this movie was going to be awesome. And it's fun to think how some other superheroes might deal with a similar situation.
Like, how would Iron Man deal with it?
Yeah.
He probably would have been captured or dead.
Yeah. I mean, Tony can't read a room for shit.
Yeah, if you got somebody like Spider-Man, he could probably do it with his spider sense, but I think being in an enclosed space would have him at a disadvantage because he realized he's not really a trained fighter like a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
He would, he relies on open spaces so he can swing around and jump around.
Some guys like Wolverine or Bruce Banner, even, it would be impractical to try and subdue them that way.
And then you were telling me about if they did Matt Murdock. Found himself in that situation, he might be able to anticipate it as well.
Like, he would hear a lot of elevated heartbeats and just feel a general sense of wrong there, kind of like Cap does. It's just really fun to see him read everyone's body language, like, that guy's palming a stunner, or say that guy is sweating for some reason.
He's like, his patriot sense is tingling.
Yeah. Everybody's like avoiding eye contact. He comes around. It's like, well, if I was to subdue someone like me in an elevator, this might be how I do it.
Yeah.
He just knows. I love that so much. And the gentleman is like, before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Once the twist is revealed, then we get our centralized villain in the form of Robert Redford playing Alexander Pierce. Now, there was some speculation that he was going to turn out to be Red Skull in disguise, but no, he is this guy who's really a bad guy. It's really a smart casting with Robert Redford because, like I've said before, if you made Captain America in the 70s, you would cast Robert Redford because he was the all-American blonde-haired, blue-eyed dude. So to cast him as sort of who at first seems a mentor figure for Cap, and then reveal him as the bad guy, was pretty clever.
And going back to the whole Red Skull thing, in the comics, Red Skull spent a lot of time in a clone body of Captain America.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so if you're going to have a guy who looks like an older Steve Rogers, that's Robert Redford. But, turns out no, he's just Alexander Pierce, and he's actually evil.
Yeah.
The end.
You could have had Alexander Pierce be Del Rusk, who was another little con that Red Skull did, where he pretends to be... He sets up this identity and gets himself elected Secretary of Defense.
That was a Jeff Johns story, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Or Red Zone, I believe it's called. But another thing I noticed in this movie is that our heroes spend a lot of time out of their trademark superhero suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black Widow only has her Black Widow suit on in the first action scene.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Steve, who after he escapes with the Triskelion, he sheds his stealth outfit, and then he's in his civvies for a while, including the freeway chase.
Yeah.
And it's not until they finally go in for the big final battle that he gets his old outfit out of the museum and goes to town. Notice that they added the stripe down the middle of the suit, which you didn't notice that?
No.
With the first Avenger, it was just the two straps, and the rest of it was white.
Okay.
And in this movie, when he digs it out, they've added a stripe in the middle.
Okay.
I didn't stripe. Yeah.
No, I didn't notice that.
Oh, you didn't? Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get away with that in the movies. I feel like in the comics, our heroes always have to have their costumes on hand. Because we want to see, the panels of them, in full, fully suited up, fighting the bad guys.
Yeah.
But in the movies, we just, it's the characters, even if they're not wearing the suit. I mean, especially in most of the MCU where there aren't really a lot of secret identities. It doesn't matter if they're wearing the suit or not, they're still this guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
he's still Cap. He's still Iron Man.
Thor only wearing his helmet that one time.
Yeah.
Most of the time he has it off, and he still looks like Thor. Not Thor without his helmet. He's just,
One thing I haven't mentioned is I kind of wish that Thor would wear his helmet a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because, a little bit. I mean, we're there. It's safe for him to put it on.
When we watched the movie this time, for this go-around, we found this guy who did a fan edit where he took Winter Soldier and spliced in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's our last stretch of 6 episodes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not the full episodes, but kind of did this like a bridge cut of all of them, where sort of cutting back and forth between those and Winter Soldier to do a full fall of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'd like to see, for the fan edit, if I were to do it, I would like to have more, intercutting back and forth between the movie and the show so that it feels more tight instead of just, let's stop watching the movie and watch some show.
We probably watched this movie more than any of the other MCU movies.
Except maybe Iron Man, I think.
Maybe Iron Man, but I think that Winter Soldier's catching up and is probably going to pass it.
Yeah.
Remember the Russo brothers signed up for this one?
Yeah.
These guys had never done anything close to a big-scale action movie before this.
And now it's one of the best big-scale action movies that has ever been made.
Whenever a director signs up for a movie and it doesn't seem like a good match, just remember the Russo brothers, because you just never know. I guess they made a hell of a pitch to Marvel.
Yeah.
And it's like, these guys. But then doesn't matter. These guys.
Yeah.
They know what's up. All right. So I look forward to them taking over on Infinity War.
Yeah. So that's Winter Soldier.
All right. Next up, we round things out with Guardians of the Galaxy.